is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Game Time Podcast with your boys, Snowbike Mike and Tom Bach. We are back for episode 15, and oh boy, are we full off of some Thanksgiving feasts and a holiday season kicking into high gear. Whole lot of games, whole lot of sports to get into. So, like we always do, Tom Bach, thanks for joining me. How you doing today?
Michael Howard, I'm doing fantastic, and I love the Thanksgiving holiday, man. I want you to know how thankful I am for you. This has been a great year. I always get like super emotional around Thanksgiving, man. It's like one of those holidays that always gets me thinking about stuff and family and what I'm thankful for and this awesome community of people that we get to hang around with and play games with and stuff. And man, I just want you to know how thankful I am for you, my brother.
Tom Bach, that's so nice of you to say. I'm thankful for you and all of our best friends out there that support us here on our Game Time Podcast. It's interesting you say that because, you know, this kind of holiday season from Thanksgiving to Christmas, you really reflect inwards. You think about the year. You think about your friends and your family. And I only do that on a separate occasion. That's on my birthday. I like to think back on the year I just had, plan out set goals for the year moving forward as I head into a new year, a new age. But this year is a little different for me. This Thanksgiving, I really didn't have time to reflect, think about anything. As you know, Tom Bach, I had a couple of big live events going on. The day before Thanksgiving, we had the Pray for Snow party at a big bar and nightclub down in town. That was phenomenal. Then a day after Thanksgiving, of course, I had the tree lighting ceremony here in the city of South Lake Tahoe. So I felt like I was always on the go. I had to stay on the ball, and I really didn't have time to think about, you know, being thankful, think about my friends and my family, because I was just moving and shaking the whole time. But when you say that, Tom, thank you. I'm thankful for you as well, my guy.
Dude, you were a busy guy. By the way, that was great. I love seeing the tree lighting. It was really cool that you got to stream it. I think I told you, or at least I texted you, my entire family watched it like on the big screen. My kids loved it, dude. That was really, really cool. That was a really cool event. I'm so glad they let you do that. You did awesome at it.
Oh, thank you, Tom. That was an awesome event, and that will definitely go down as a story, an experience of a lifetime for me. I can't wait to share that more. But enough talking. Let's jump right into it, of course, like we always do. Let's kick off the show with what we've been playing. We are thick in the holiday season. There are so many games from early fall to now early December that we have had our hands on. And Tom Bach, I know you and I, sometimes we play the same games. Sometimes we play different games. So why don't we catch up, Tom? What have you been playing?
Good gosh, dude. This has been the craziest span of time, I think, for games that I can remember because there's so much coming at us. And I usually do a really crappy job at kind of juggling it all this time of year. I play a little bit of everything, and then I get mad at myself because I didn't spend enough time with some of the ones that I wanted to. This year, though, man, like I feel like for the first time in a long time, and there's a couple of exceptions of things I wish I was getting more time with, but man, I feel like I'm digging in and I'm getting some good time with stuff. So my list is kind of big. We can kind of go through them here because, like you said, some of these I think we overlap on. Some of them I think we're kind of uniquely playing. But for me, here's the list. So a lot of time with Red Dead still. I looked at my game clock, dude. I'm at 110 hours of Red Dead, which is insane.
Might as well get sucked into the TV with that many hours, Tom Bach.
God.
Oh my God.
I've completely lost my shit with Red Dead. And I got some Red Dead Online. We could talk about that a little bit down the road. I got probably 4 or 5 hours in online. I bought the Ultimate Edition, so luckily about 2 days ago I was able to get online with it, which is really cool. Battlefield 5, you and I have been playing a bunch of that, which has been great. Just started Darksiders 3. We can talk for a little bit about that. Fallout, which will be an interesting conversation because that's certainly been kind of a big topic for most people. Been playing some of that. I did do the second Spider-Man DLC, which not a whole lot to talk about there. It was a good filler kind of in between the first and the third here and what the third's going to be to close it out. Hitman 2, which I know you're deep into, and I've been watching you stream, and it's been great. Some great clips of you. I saw you headshotting somebody the other day. That was a great clip. And then a little bit of Tetris Effect. I've been jumping into the virtual world a little bit, experiencing some of that. A little mixed on that one, but those are my, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 games that I've been a lot of time with. What
Tom
about you?
Bach's been putting in hours.
Yeah, man,
I love
putting in work.
hearing that. I'm very similar to you. I got Hitman 2 up on my list, Battlefield 5, Fallout 76 we've been really diving in on, and of course, just recently announced as of yesterday, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning coming to your Xbox One backwards compatibility titles. You gotta love it, and If you don't have the disc, it's only $20. So not a bad price point to get such a meaty RPG.
Great
you know what I
game.
mean, Tom Bach?
Great game. One of my favorite games of last year. I love that game. Yep.
Love that one. So why don't you and I, we got some games that we share. I want to touch on, let's talk about Battlefield 5, our experiences as a squad. Maybe you played single player like me. What are getting some of the vibes that you're getting right now?
So as I think the community knows, I'm a big Battlefield guy. Battlefield's always been sort of my big go-to when it comes to multiplayer. Was never really a big Call of Duty guy, was always on the Battlefield side. My nephew, who's now I think in his early 20s, was kind of the one that got me indoctrinated into it, and I've always been, BF4 to me is still like one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. So I like it a lot. I think it's a great foundation of a game. There's definitely some things that everybody's kind of pointed out relative to balancing, which is fully expected for a big, pervasive, ongoing, gonna live for years multiplayer game. And some of the issues are very real. Like we talked earlier about, there seems to be some issue. People die really quickly. Like the bullets, the net code doesn't seem to match really well sometimes. But dude, what's there I really, really like. I think DICE does shooting second only to Bungie as far as kind of fun, challenging, but yet accessible shooting. The game modes are great. Dude, it looks beautiful. Holy crap, that game looks spectacular in 4K HDR. I've had a ball playing with you guys. Like, I expect this game to get progressively better and better and better as it goes. I know that's weird to say about hey, shouldn't the game be finished? Not really. Not these big ongoing multiplayer games. They need a lot of time to kind of see how the community does stuff with them, how it fits together. I think DICE has been super communicative on everything. I have huge high hopes for this game. Getting to Battlefield 4 status, it's not there yet or even close to me, but I'm digging it, man. I'm having fun. I haven't played single player, and I'd love to kind of hear your single player thoughts. But so far so good. I've probably got 30 hours in, and I every time I play, I have a little more fun than I did the last time. I think I'm learning it as I go. So.
Totally, Tom. I think you hit it right on the head on that one. Is like when we play as a squad, it's so much fun. It's nothing but crazy, dumb antics, a lot of commotion, a lot of screaming and yelling. And I think that's truly what I take away the pure joy of. Is like when we have 4 guys, I think even one day we had 5 to 8 guys and we were running 2 different squads on the same team. And it's just mayhem on the communication line. But it's just so much fun how big, how beautiful you touched on it. Each and every one of these worlds, all these maps, are so beautiful. I mean, we're up in one map, we're on top of a mountain range. It's nothing but snow out there. Snow's flying. Bullets are flying. It's so cool. And it's really impressive to me, like you touched on. Battlefield 4 is such a cornerstone of this Battlefield franchise. Everybody loves it. The modern day shooter. They had the Levolution, as that's when it's all started. You could take down the big tower in Shanghai. But to have them go back to this World War I, World War II aesthetic is pretty impressive to still be so much fun. I mean, you can still rocket launcher through a wall. Tanks are driving over people, driving over buildings. I mean, it's really impressive that even we can go back into the, history and still have a good time. And man, they knocked it out the park with this one. Not having many latency issues. I think when we first played before the game actually released, we were having issues with matchmaking, moving to the next match. Yep. But that has completely been eliminated. That has been fixed.
Oh, good.
Everything is good. So, I'm happy to report that I'm having 0 issues on lag, latency, matchmaking. Everything seems to be running smooth with the squad, which is everything that I wanted and more. And man, that 32 on 32 to make 64 people on a map is absolutely insane. It's always mayhem. I do feel like I'm dying all the time because if there's 32 people on a map, no matter how big the map is, somebody's going to come and shoot you. Just plain simple. That's just how it's going to go. Single player's been going well, though, Tom. I've played 3 out of the 5 vignettes, and I like them because they are bite-sized, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour-long chunks, and it's just like any other shooter campaign. Hey, run over there, find, said person that you need to rescue. Okay, now kill 50 guys. Okay, run to the next spot, go kill another 50 guys. So it's cool. I think my favorite one, though, right now is we were up in either Norway or Sweden somewhere on a snowy map in the single player, and we got to ski. And when you got to ski, you literally strapped on skis to your feet, and you were carving down the side of a mountain hill. You'd snipe somebody, get back on your cross-country skis, ski around. That was so cool, and what a fun addition into the game right there. So I've been enjoying single player. I've been enjoying Battlefield as a whole. I don't think I can play by myself, though. That's my big issue. I told you before in the show. It's like, I can't go on and think I'm just going to join a game like multiplayer. I got to have a squad. That makes it that much more fun for me.
You know, yeah, I do play a lot by myself too. Just I'll jump in a squad and do some conquest because there's a lot to learn in this one. It seems like, as there is in all of them. The only thing here's what gives me pause about it, and this is the thing I loved about Battlefield 4 that I think made it as special as it was, is to me Battlefield 4 was about 7 different games in one in multiplayer. And what I mean by that was because playing as infantry was so different than playing as a helicopter pilot, was so different than playing as a boat, was so different than playing as a tank, was so different than playing as any of the number of things you could do. I mean, you could play out of the back of a tank and just be the gunner. You could play. There was so many different roles to play in Battlefield 4 that were incredibly unique and distinct from one another that, like, I would have entire games, like my nephew and I would play, and he'd be like, hey man, I'm just going to do helicopter this game, or I'm just going to do something different. And we would never even touch being infantry. Like, we would never get on the ground and shoot. And you felt like you could have an entire match just, you know, supporting the team from one perspective of being a pilot or being a tank. And dude, as you know, the people who get good at that shit are like really good at being
so good, yeah,
at tank or whatever. That's the only thing that I haven't completely gotten the vibe of yet is, can you do this game that way and stay, I know you can, but can you do it and stay satisfied doing it the way that I could in Battlefield 4, where you could do a whole match and never get tired of being whatever that specific, like, for example, you'd go out and be like a helicopter killer, right? Then you had 5 different RPGs that would do different lock on and try to take helicopters down. Like, you could go out specifically with just that intent to try to change the way that the thing went. I'm catching myself, and I don't know if you're doing this, and maybe this is because we're squatted up, I'm catching myself playing too much infantry. And while I like infantry, that's not what I play Battlefield for exclusively. I'm not like a hardcore got to be always in a tank or a boat or a chopper guy, but I don't always want to have it Call of Duty style. Like, I want to do other things. I want to ride in the back of a tank while a badass tank driver is running point and I'm just providing support fire, killing people from behind. Like, I dig that, dude. Like, that's what I play Battlefield for. So I hope there's more of that. That's my only gripe with the game so far is, and I think it's just me, I'm playing too much infantry and I need to get out of it. Dude, by the way, have you seen your boy Shroud play Battlefield?
Incredible.
Have you watched him?
He's incredible. He's so good.
He had a 100-kill game the other day
scary.
that I was watching. It's scary. Like, to think that he can just jump from one game to the next and be as good as he is. Like, I didn't know his lineage with Battlefield, if he'd played it or not. And again, this is by far my jam. He's incredible. He's incredible at that game. Like, I almost couldn't watch. My jaw was like on the floor watching one of his replays. I think he killed like 60-something guys in a row at one point, and I was just like, Shroud.
He's so good.
It's crazy.
We talked about that before, of like him, Dr. Disrespect, Ninja. There's certain players that, you know, maybe your guy Nick Merckx, that can literally jump from any game and still have a high level of competition play. And it's awesome, and it's a testament to show you how much work they put into this. This isn't just some guy who got good at one game. Like, that work flows over to other games, and they can be good at anything. It's funny you say the infantry part, Tom, because I purposely am one of those kids that will hover over the helicopter or plane to ensure that I get in it once a game.
Oh, good.
And so now I can tell you I'm flying at least once a game. I'm in a tank once a game, and I'm always practicing that. The air combat is very difficult because you really have one or two moves. You can either strafe over one of the hard points, we'll call it, and you can shoot down and hope you hit somebody. Or if you're in a bomber, you're going to drop the bombs on them. On the flip side, you can either get into dogfights up in the air, which is so difficult if you're still learning or beginner, because a lot of these kids you go up against, they're slowing down, they're accelerating, they're barrel rolling, they're corkscrewing around you. And like, here I am just trying to keep the thing leveled, and it's tough. And I can tell you as well, I like getting in a plane with another person and being that turret, but I feel like the vision there is off. So if you're in the back seat for some reason, you're underneath the plane, and I can't see anything above it. I can just see down below and like level with the plane body itself. And that's tough for me because I'm looking to shoot down other planes. I'm not really thinking to shoot down infantry on the ground. And then when you flip to the other side of the camera, there's like so much in front of you on the front that you can barely see half the map. So I'm still trying to get the extra like Chewbacca turreting down to help out Han Solo. But all in all, I'm ensuring that I get in the plane every single time, Tom.
That's great, man. I'm glad to hear that because I think that, that is what makes Battlefield is having those ability. I don't know if you've played much Battlefield 4, but some of the best content in that game really is just the variety of stuff that, there's so many different types of tanks, especially like some of the water levels where you have the boats. Dude, some of the weaponry, again, the modern weaponry, people have been commenting a lot on sort of what did World War II have, and is that limiting the game in some respects because they don't have quite the, plethora of interesting weapons that they did later on. But man, some of the greatest stuff in that game comes out of the vehicles. It really does. And people initially see it and think it's overpowered. They did a great job. DICE has always done a good job with like the rock, paper, scissors element of all those things. It's like, just because you're in a tank doesn't mean that you're going to wreck people. You can get wrecked in a tank really quickly by infantry if they know what they're doing, right? So this whole rock, this can beat that can beat that can beat that. I love that about those games, right? So you're not, just because you're in something that you'd think would be overpowered doesn't mean you are if you run into people who know what the hell they're doing. So, dude, so far so good. Loving Battlefield 5. I think for the community at large who, if they're willing to give this game time, I'm a little concerned though. Like I look at the Twitch numbers are really bad. It doesn't look like it's doing really well. It's hard to tell these days, dude, because there's 10 streamers that play Fortnite that get over 40,000 people watching them. Like it's hard to compare anything now because of Fortnite. Everything looks shitty compared. So I hope it does well. I want to see this game go on for years. I want to see the content continue to kind of bleed in. I think they've got a great foundation here. As a guy that's played a lot of Battlefield, this game's got the right stuff to be phenomenal, and I'm bullish on it for sure.
100%. Let's move on to another rock, paper, scissors match, as I feel, because sometimes I pick the wrong thing and just mess it all up. Hitman 2 has now been released. You and I have been playing it. I'm one of those guys. I told you, Tom, I'm over Hitman because I'm just not a stealth gamer. I can't do it anymore. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm sick of always being caught. Well, this time I said, you know what? Amazon Black Friday is selling it for half off. It looks beautiful. Tom Box playing it. I should go give it a try. So I got it for half price. And let me tell you what, Tom, I am loving it. I can't stop playing Hitman 2. It's just nothing but just pure joy and laughter. And I'm not even playing it at a high level. I cannot wait till I get to that high level where I'm actually mapping out the way that you move. I got a crane set up to drop on your head or something crazy. I'm not even at that level. I usually just sneak into an area. I find you. You and I connect eyes. I shoot you with a silenced pistol, and I just start running the other way. So I'm not even close to being any good at this game, and I still have a ball playing it. It is so much fun. And you want to talk about beautiful? Those worlds are super beautiful and have so much going on. I mean, I thought Hitman was strictly, hey, here's your target. Here's like 100 ways to kill him. Go kill him. No. Now they've added in different layers of missions where I'm on a movie set and they're like, hey, where's the movie actor? And there's a whole separate mission of if you go get the movie actor, that will draw down your target next to the movie actor. Then you can kill them both in some elaborate way. And I'm not even at that level, but I love the added detail that you can go on.
So is that give me your by the way, I love hearing that too, because I've been a big Hitman fan for a while. What have you played in the past? Is this your first one?
I have played Hitman since Hitman Absolution.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I've played Hitman a lot in my day, but I've always been the same. I buy it, I play it for about 3 hours, get bored that I'm constantly getting caught because I like to go in guns blazing, and then I just throw it off into the side. And so I lucked out with Hitman 1 being on Xbox Game Pass where I could play that. Love it. I had a chance to do that. I got this one for half price, and I'm enjoying it to the maximum.
This one, I mean, so let's start from the beginning of and especially in that kind of the first whatever we call demo or tutorial level that's out at the beach.
Okay.
I don't know if you did that one with did you do that first one? It's like out at the sand dunes and the beach.
Oh yeah,
and
of
the
course
ocean.
they make you do that. Yeah, totally.
Man, that game is incredible visually. Like that's one of the nicest games. Like that whole intro when you go out on the beach and all the grass kind of waving and the moonlight and the stars and everything. That game is very polished. This is the first thing that I really noticed about that game was, like you said, this is not some slap together Hitman game. Like it's a really, really polished game, which is really cool. Secondly, I don't know how much time you spent sort of looking through as you said, you're not at the point where you're figuring out all these really creative, interesting ways to kill people. It's almost like impossible to keep up with how many different ways you could do it. Like, I don't know if you've seen the list of all the, like, they'll give you a little hint that'll say, like, you know, and you have to figure out, like, you got to hit the guy with a tuna fish or some crazy, you know.
Exactly,
right?
Tom.
They'll name it something really funny for you to go figure out. I always catch myself shocked that they programmed it enough that it reacts to everything that you do. I mean, it's really this one feels more sandboxy to me than the other ones do, that whatever you do, it'll react to it. Something's going to happen, whether they intended for you to do it or not. I don't know. But that's what I really I'm taking away from it, is anything that I think I might be able to do, it's letting me do it. Like, it's genuinely letting me go try something insane. Here's my issue though. And tell me if this resonates with you at all. Are you really ever going to go back and do all these elaborate different ways of, let's say you finish, like I did that first level. Are you really going to go back and do all these other crazy ways of doing it just for shits and giggles? Like, is it that interesting to you to want to go back and try the 15th time to kill him a really bizarre way? Does that appeal to you at all?
100%. Totally, okay. Tom. I'm all in for this because I think you hit it just a moment ago. It rewards you for exploration. And like you said, you're walking around and it's like, oh, you need a wrench for that. Oh, you need a lockpick for that. Oh, you should have had poison. And you're like, how the heck was I supposed to find that tuna to poison this lady? What's going on here? And it rewards you for going off the beaten path, going finding different tools, putting them in your pocket. I mean, perfect example. They've programmed it so much where even the thing that you intended to kill the person with might not even do that. Perfect example. I was on the racetrack in Miami. Mm-hmm. I found some poison. I finally got up next to the girl that I was supposed to kill from the Knox family. I poisoned her champagne. Guess who drank the champagne? Her personal attendant, her private investigator lady. She proceeds to drink it. She gets sick. The best part about it is she now draws herself out of the room along with the bodyguard because she's throwing up everywhere. And now it's just me and the babe. And I'm like, oh, guess what? I guess it worked out. You're done now. And so, I mean, it rewards you for going off the beaten path, which I love. Like you said, Tom, at the end of every mission, it gives you pictures of every side thing, everything that you could have done. And I usually average about 4 of those things, and they're usually the main things. And I'm like, man, like, what's that mask stand for? Why is there a giant crane in the background? And I want to check that out because I want to get those crazy kills. I think I was just in Mumbai, India, and a moment ago, we had a giant fan on a movie set, and I wanted to push the guy into the movies or into the fan. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, of all the Hitman games to me, they've perfected this formula down to this. It's almost kind of mind-boggling, actually, that they can sit down and figure out all these different ways to do it. I'm not as far as you. I think you're probably a little bit further in than I am. But dude, 2 huge thumbs up on this game for Hitman fans if you dig it. I'll be curious to see after I go through it if I have the same calling to go back and want to do stuff. I'm just more interested in watching it than I am playing it, if I'm being honest. Like, I want to see all those different ways that you could do it. I'm not so sure I'm going to keep going back over and over and trying it again and again to figure it out. Because, dude, a lot of them, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're kind of time-based. So, like, if you miss the opportunity to do something, it could be gone forever. So you really need to kind of, like, react and move and do stuff sort of real time when you do it. So anyway, man, I'm digging it. I love that you love it. It's a great streaming game, by the way. Keep streaming it. Like, I've been laughing my ass off watching you play it. It's been really good.
All right, that was a little Hitman 2 talk. Now, Tom Bach, I want to touch on something that you've been playing. I know I haven't played, and I actually have never played a game out of this series. Darksiders 3 is now released. Tom, I know you got that special edition, big-time handy-dandy collector's book as well. Why don't you tell me all about it?
So man, Darksiders is a game that I've always kind of had like a little bit of a soft spot for. I don't know if it's sort of like that, just the vibe of those kind of games, like these sort of mystical, weird fantasy things. Like, I've always sort of had a weird soft spot for it. Have you haven't played any of them, you said, right?
No, I've never played them. I've seen them. They remind me of like early God of War, the hack, smash type game.
Yeah. Yeah, and they pretty much are. So for people who've played them, the first Darksiders was very much that. Aesthetically, it's really strange, man. It's weird. It's a little jarring to play this game now because it doesn't look like a modern game kind of at all. It looks incredibly different, in fact, than a modern game, like the cell shading. It looks, it doesn't look old. Like I've read some of the reviews, people have cracked on it like it looks like an old game. They're purposely trying to make it look this way. So I don't think it doesn't look old to me. It looks modern. There's a lot of things about it that have kind of modern development stuff going on, but it's very simple. There's not a lot going on, right? So it's sort of a little different vibe to it. The first Darksiders was very I hate to always use like other games as examples, but very Metroid-ish, right? Like you'd come into an area, you had only limited tools at the time, you could explore this area, that area, but not these other ones until you got, powered up or certain stuff. This game's got a lot of that, which is kind of cool, right? So it's a big, like a sort of like a hub world that you can sort of move around a lot in, excuse me, as you get more powers and stuff. It's a lot like Darksiders 1. Darksiders 2 was a very kind of a departure. It's almost an exact follow-on to Darksiders 1 for people who've played it. Dude, I actually think you'd like it, Mike, and here's why. So it definitely has a very, it's challenging as hell. It's a really difficult game. Any enemy can kill you. It is very kind of like dodge, parry, attack. You got to look at tells from enemies, kind of see what they're going to do. All that type of Dark Souls, Bloodborne-esque, very, very Bloodborne-y. In fact, I think it's much closer to Bloodborne than it is to Dark Souls to me, combat style-wise. But it's a lot of fun, man. It's challenging. You can never really sit back and relax. There's a lot going on as far as finding stuff that's sort of hidden as you get more powerful and you go along. Man, it's kind of got me. Like I'm putting some hours into it and I'm digging it. It's definitely my vibe of a game as a guy that loves Bloodborne, and Dark Souls is some of my favorites of all time. It's very much in that vibe, although aesthetically a million degrees away from those games. It plays like them. It's worth a look, man, if you get some time to play it. For anybody who likes that style of game, it's not fantastic. It's got its issues, but it's a hell of a fun romp, and so far so good. I'm definitely enjoying it.
Oh, definitely, Tom. I think when you tweeted out that it reminded you of like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I was like, oh, that's a lot different than I thought was just the hack and slash, never die type nature. I like that parry, dodge, combo type attack that we saw in Dark Souls and Bloodborne. So if that's what it's like, mixed with that cool art style and aesthetics like you talk about, I might be sold on that kind of game. I do know that we have 1 and 2 on Xbox Game Pass. I wonder if we'll see 3 eventually migrate over to that, where I may get to play it with my monthly subscription. That would definitely get me to jump in and play it,
And there's going to be a 4th one too, and it's the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse is the backstory, and so they've already done the first 2 Horsemen of Death and War and Death, and now this one, Fury, and then the last one I think they're going to do as well. And it's it's formulaic in the sense that you've got boss fights at the end. And I'm through the first 4 bosses, I think. The boss fights are equally as hard as a Dark Souls boss. Like you'll die 20 times before you'll kill it. Easily 20 times as you learn all the different stuff. It's very much that formula of die, learn, rinse, repeat, figure out what you did wrong. Lots of stuff to pick up. In fact, they even have kind of like in Bloodborne, they'd have the little glowy souls. You go around a corner and find one, pick something up, a one-time consumable, whatever. Very much of that style. So I know that appeals to you. I think you would dig it.
Definitely. I know it looks cool to me for sure. Whenever I see game clips of it, or I saw all the teaser trailers, like that looks cool. Her whip action, her look itself looks really awesome. I'm definitely intrigued by it. I'll put that on my maybe to watch list is right.
Let me get through it. Let me finish it up. So I'll finish it up. I'll get through it. I'll knock it out. I'll let you know like if it gets. So what I haven't seen yet is all the plethora of like weapons and different abilities you can unlock. I would say though, of a game that's really similar that you have to play that I brought up last week is Devil May Cry. It's a far superior game. And I the more that I see it and the more that I think about it, the more I think of you and how much you would dig it. Dude, you put that one on the list before this one. That's what I'm going to say. And it's on
that one's on my Game Pass. I have it already downloaded. That's funny you say that. All right, Tom Bach, let's finish this segment out with Fallout 76. I know we touched on it last week about the beta. We've played a lot more hands-on now that the full release is out. Tom, what are your thoughts? Because you said, oh boy. Why don't you tell me about what you're thinking? Because I think a lot of you guys know, if you've been watching my live streams, if you've been reading my tweets, I've been very positive on it, and I've had a great time with it, some would say. So I definitely want to hear your side before, I give it all the positivity and joy that I'm going to bring.
Yeah. Man, this one is so interesting to me, Mike. And it's, I don't know. I don't always want to go off on rants about, the way that when games come out and people don't play them and then cream them. And then I get into this weird thought process around companies that get stuck in this rut of, they have a game like Fallout. Everybody wants, they want them to do new things. And yet when they try new things, they beat the crap out of them for trying new things. Right. And I have so many thoughts that, that we can't always go into on this podcast when that stuff happens. It's like, it's such an interesting dilemma that I've seen so much written about this game. Like, I don't know that I've seen a more polarizing game come out in a long, long time. I really don't. Like, it's, as you know, it's just been all over the place. People criticizing it, loving it. Like, it's just been so polarizing. People haven't even played it, criticizing it. People who played a ton of, it's a weird mix, right? And I think that point is, to me, is really the most critical piece of this, which is these game studios are in such or developers are in such a strange position of, they're stuck between, do I just give people the exact same thing they had before and think that that's good enough, right? They could have come out with a game here that was exactly what Fallout 4 was, no multiplayer stuff, and done, what everybody's clamoring for. Like, hey, you ruined Fallout for me because you turned it into this other thing. But then they don't try anything new, and they could be equally as beaten up by people for like, why don't you ever try anything new? You keep doing the same game over and over and over again, right? So I feel really weird. I feel really torn because of that dynamic. Now, I will say, for me, I am definitely enjoying it. And by no means did my comment mean like, oh boy, I hate this game. And I've seen these tweets and people like, they've ruined it forever. And like, people are so down on this game that it kind of makes my head spin a little bit. Here's where I'm frustrated by it. The core of the game, and again, I play Fallout a little differently maybe than some people do. I'm a very headphones, very single player. I like to get into that world and kind of feel isolated. So the isolation, the non-player, the fact that there's no NPCs doesn't bother me at all. People like, I need NPCs. Who cares? Like, that's not me. And I can see why people care, but I don't care. Give me my missions. I'm fine. The world is not as ugly as everyone thinks. Like, maybe it's just a 4K thing or HDR thing now with the visuals on an X, but it doesn't look that bad. It's not like it's terrible. The game glitching and all that is inexcusable. I totally hear everybody that's had these horrible experiences. I know Brandon Tyrell wrote a big IGN review about it. Like, just game-breaking shit. Like, that stuff is, inexcusable. Like, it really is. But the other stuff is kind of what it is. But here's where I go sideways on this game. If I could play, I wish I could play it. We talked about Red Dead last week about you could play it edge to edge. You could play it as complicatedly as you wanted to play it or as simply as you wanted to play it. And I know that that's what they were going for with this game, but they didn't get there. And I wish they would have made it that way to where if I wanted to play it my old school Fallout 4 way, I could have. And if I wanted to play it this new school way that you're playing, and by the way, dude, you look like you're having a ball with this game, to cruise the wasteland with 3 other people and jack stuff up and have a good time with it, while that may not be traditional Fallout, is still fun as hell. Like, it looks like you guys are having a ball doing it. And I apologize, you and I haven't even done that yet, which is crazy. But I wish they would have made that a wider ability to do all that, because the stuff that they added is really great. The crafting systems, I think, are really solid. The camp system is really solid. The world is really pretty amazing. Like, I'm catching myself wanting to explore tons of stuff and do everything, but I feel very hamstrung. Like, I feel like I'm dying way more often than I would like. I feel like if you play it single, you get overwhelmed quite a bit. Like, you talked in Battlefield 5 dying a lot. I'm getting killed a lot, and it's frustrating. VATS isn't great. Like, that's a problem. I just wish they would have made it a little more where you could have gone edge to edge with it. I've been talking forever, so I'll shut up and let you go, but I like it, dude. I genuinely like it. I'm not down on it. I promise I'm going to put another 50 hours into this game because I do like it that much and I want to see it through. I just don't know that the loop the gameplay loop fits perfectly for me. That's my only issue with it. Is it going to keep my interest? Loot, kill, upgrade, get the new, like, it just, I don't think the loop is satisfying enough. So
interesting, Tom. I like all your takes on that one, and I definitely like your insights. It's interesting. We'll have to call up Sad Boy Sean, my buddy. As you know, Sad Boy Sean loves to play everything single player. He does not like multiplayer that much, and he actually is playing Fallout 76 all by himself on PlayStation 4, and he has nothing but positive things to say. He's loving it. So I'll have to call him one of these days, see what his big takeaways are. But every time we check in with Sean, he is loving playing it all by himself. He has no issues. He's running around, completing missions, doing whatever, base building, all by himself. And that's really odd to me because, as you just said on the live streams, I've been playing it with 3 other people to make a squad of 4, and it has been a ball to have such a great time. I mean, we're doing it all, from killing just random enemies. We're searching areas we've never been to. We're completing missions. We're sharing loot. We're building a base together. I mean, it's everything that I've wanted and more on this Fallout side. And I think you touched on it well, Tom, of like, what were these guys supposed to do? Did you really want Fallout 5 another 4 years from now, and it's just going to be single player only? Maybe they wanted to try something new. Everybody talks about connective experiences that you and I can share as a group, as a duo, as a squad, whatever it may be. This is the new day and age where everybody wants to be connected together and share these experiences. And why not make Fallout available like that? We've already made Elder Scrolls like that. Fallout was the next logical piece, and I think they've done a good job of, like, there's you and 4 buddies just running around in the wasteland, having a moment, sharing something together, sharing laughter. Yeah, there's some bugs in it, but at least you can share the downside of the bugs together of like, oh man, every time I do a mission with Kevin A6, Kevin is the only one that can do the mission, and my missions go off if Kevin completes it or not. That's just how it goes. Whatever, at least I'm there with Kevin.
Yeah, the only ones that are inexcusable are the ones that, like, when your server instance gets borked and like you have to be on the same server and it gets disconnected, and then like the character on your server doesn't make it over to the, like, some of those I was reading about that are pretty wacky. But dude, you hit the nail on the head with they really are stuck, and all these games are coming out are sequels, and I think it marketing to today's audience is just so difficult because people are so quick to judge. And they almost don't know what they don't want. I mean, think of God of War, right? Like, if you would have told people you're changing God of War, and remember, before we knew anything about what that game was, your vision of God of War was this top-down or pseudo-top-down, 2.5D hack and slash thing. And if somebody would have said to you, I'm going to go full, third person first, you'd have been like, this is insane. You're ruining God of War. It could be one take. And on the flip side, they revolutionize it into this amazing new thing. Right. And so the challenge that they're stuck with is so pervasive to how do you not, I mean, the game's not selling well. It's getting destroyed in the reviews. They've had to come out now. Your Uncle Todd has had to come out now and like basically apologize in a weird way. Now they spun it and they tried to say, hey, we're going to improve upon it. And I think that they will. I mean, they're a very well-funded big studio who, if changes can be, I mean, remember the vision for this game, dude, this was like a 10-year game. Like this wasn't ESO. This is going to live in this universe. So they got to plow forward, man. There's no turning back on this game for them right now. They have to fix it. They have to make it what the community wants. And it's tough because I don't think the community knows what it wants. I think they want things to be new and better, but they don't know what that means. And so they get mired into this, you've ruined Fallout for me, which is why I keep saying, I'm going to keep going, dude. Like, people have asked me or tweeted at me like, it sucks and how can you, it's like, I don't want to pass judgment on it yet. And I know maybe that's being too loosey-goosey with it, but I want to see more of it. I want to see more where they think this thing is going to go. So look, I'm a big I've always been a Fallout fan. I genuinely have been. Like, I know your New Vegas is one of your favorites of all time. I'll give you a simple example. Here's a great example. How excited were you to see something as simple as the new map style, right? That new map was awesome compared to that stupid green and white on the Pip-Boy map.
Right? Tom, wait up. Yeah, totally.
Right? So think about this. Now, we talk about iterating on a game. Like, when I first saw that map, the sigh of relief that I let out, like, oh my God, I finally have an actual, I can understand it. Cause dude, how many times in Fallout you look at that, I can't even freaking understand it. It's just a bunch of pops and buzzes and lights. So they fixed the map, right? Well then, here's my other one that's like, you can iterate, but keep the foundation of what was there before. So for example, people go back and forth on the terminal hacking, right? I don't know if you've ever gotten into like the really understood how the hacking works with the letters, right? When you're trying to get the words and all that kind of stuff. It frustrates me to no end that that's still that weird old system. Like, can't you update that one? Make that one look a little better? Make that mini game a little more fun? Because as you know, dude, there's a lot of text in this game. You have to read a lot because there's no NPCs. You're involved in those terminals an awful lot. Couldn't you have done like what you did with the map? Couldn't you have made that a little bit less, kind of this old, ugly, really obtuse thing? Like, I think they can do those kinds of things and keep the core of what Fallout is, but also make it more modern. And I don't know why they didn't do that. That's why I'm frustrated with it. Because like the map was just a great example of something that you can change that made the game, to me, so much better. Just something as simple as a map.
I love that, Tom. I like thinking about that. I haven't thought much about it, but like when you bring that up, I like thinking about the small improvements they made and some of the things that they can improve upon, whether it be here in Fallout 76 or maybe Fallout 5 when that comes out soon enough. You know what I mean? Those are things I'm sure they're taking feedback and listening to that. I think that is an outdated system, and you could make it more fun. We saw Spider-Man with the hacking and the genome sequences of like, that's a basic system. It's a boring system, but at least they made it halfway engaging, easy enough for me to figure out. That Fallout hacking system is so difficult for me to fall out or do. I just give up. I just walk away from those.
Dude, I have to like go onto YouTube or something and reread how it works. Like, well, you have this many letters, and is it they're in the right place but the wrong letter? Is it the right letter but the wrong place? Like those are really challenging, and it's hard to watch it. In fact, my daughter came in the room when I was doing one and saw it, and she's like, "What in the world is that?" I'm like, "God, I can't even explain it. It's so I know what it is because I've done a million of them for 20 years on Fallout games." By the way, what level? How far have you gotten? What level are you? Roughly.
Level 18 now. I think Kevin and Brian are both 25 to 30 area. I've gotten up into the high teens of about 18. We play as much as we can, and I truly enjoy it. Like, I look forward to the nights where it's like Kevin and Brian are both free and we can play that kind of game. It's fun, and it's a nice, relaxing moment where I'm still with my friends. It's not Battlefield 5. It's not Call of Duty Blackout mode. It's not, oh man, if like one of us dies, the whole game is over with and like we have to restart or we failed and that stinks. It's like, hey, here we are. We're literally fighting this scary fire-breathing bat thing up in the sky, and I've died 100 times, but I keep reloading in and we just keep laughing and shooting at it until it dies. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, and are you fine? And by the way, that's one thing I will definitely give Bethesda some massive props on. One of my big frustrations with past Fallout games has been the lack of different enemy types. You get very, very in a rut. Like Fallout 4 at some point was like, my God, how many more rad roaches can I kill? Right? It was like the same stuff over and over. I'm seeing new enemies still, however many hours in. I'm sure you are too. Like some really twisted, really interesting enemy designed stuff that I've never seen before. How much of the map do you think you've seen, percentage wise?
If to be honest, probably 40%. Like there's so many nooks and crannies. The map is so big. I feel like I haven't even explored the eastern side, the northwestern side, maybe the southern side, like the bottom
Cranberry
south part.
Bog down
There's
there.
so much to see, so much to walk around. And even when you get to those little landmarks on your map, there's like, you can go inside. There's tunnels to go explore. There's amusement park rides to get on top of and walk around. There is so much to do, and I think you said it best. There's a lot of enemy types in there that I've never seen before or that I like seeing the variety of, and there's so much more to still see. I haven't seen Mothman. I definitely know Mothman is running around somewhere. I've seen a statue of him, and I'm going to find that guy, and I'm going to kill him. Okay, I'm going to find that guy.
Oh, he's there. He's definitely friggin' he's stalking you. Now, are you back to my comment about you can play it? It doesn't give you as many ways to play it as you would like. Are you doing crafting? Are you breaking components down? Are you modding weapons? Like, are you just straight up playing it as a shooter?
Brian and Kevin are modding everything. I'm playing it as a shooter, whereas every time we're together, I take all of my broken down materials, give it to them. They can give me ammunition. They can repair my weapons. They can do anything. So I'm definitely being coddled and handheld on that aspect, but I like that as a team, I don't have to go in depth on systems that I don't really care about or really want to care about. Like, whenever I play one of those games, I'm not in it to mod out my weapon. I'm not in it to spend time at a workbench to repair my weapon. I want to go out there and I want to fight that giant super mutant. I want to go out there and make it to the top of the world at that giant ski resort. And to have my teammates there, everybody kind of specializes in their own thing, or Brian likes to sit there and modify weapons.
Tinker.
That helps me with the team aspect of like, okay, cool, I don't have to do that. I can go stand here and do something different. You know, I love that.
Good, dude. That's good to know because, again, I'm playing it single. So for me, I feel like, the systems are there. I use them quite a bit. I spend some time in those menus. The camp system's really cool. I don't know if you've played with it much. It's actually a huge improvement over the way that any of that stuff worked in the past, to have your own ability to, kind of craft stuff and keep all your stuff. And I mean, I used to always freak out. I don't know if I'm sure you did too, like in all the Skyrim games. Like, I would put all my shit in some random dresser and just pray. Right?
Yeah.
You'd have a year's worth of like every weapon, and I'm like, oh my God, if this thing ever crashes, all my shit is sitting in one, desk drawer, which is really funny. But the food stuff. What is your take on the food stuff? Are you having any issues with having to care about food and drink? I know it's two stupid little bars that it's kind of worthless, but are you fighting those systems at all? Or are you even worried about them?
I'm not that worried about them. I definitely noticed that I'm fighting hunger and dehydration, but like I said, I've been blessed enough with teammates that are really invested in these kind of things, where it's like, hey, Kevin, give me a water bottle, and then he gives me a water bottle. Like, I've put in so little effort to worrying about cooking things, any sort of base building. It's like, I am getting it handed to me on a silver spoon of like, okay, Mike, here's ammo. Here's all the stuff you need. Let's go have some fun. And then we're like, ba, 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 ba. It looks like the commercial, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I envision this game going with me. It's like, we're in the live action commercial and I'm just guns blazing, shooting at things. My teammates are like, oh, this is so awesome. And I'm like, ah. And then, so yeah, it's perfect for me.
Good, man.
I keep it very basic, very easy.
I love that you're keeping an open mind about it, man. I always I'm sure I'm not this way. I'm sure I'm old and stuck in my ways, but I like to think of myself as an open-minded gamer. And man, I was just laughing. I tweeted those pictures out of that strategy guide. That sucker's like 900 page. This game is so big, and I know that doesn't, people like, that doesn't mean anything just because it's a 900 page strategy guide. I'm like, look, I get it. If the game sucks, it sucks. If it's 900 pages or 9 pages, but there's a lot to this game, and I think everybody should. It's easy to pass judgment quickly, and maybe you'll at the end of it, I won't like it anymore, or I don't know, but I know that I got to put more time into it before I can make a really accurate assessment of it. And dude, I think I'm like level 11, so let me get a couple more levels, and then you and we'll jump on.
No doubt. All right, well, like Tom said at the beginning of this segment, we have had an insane amount of games come out recently. The fall titles are here. We're moving into the last month of 2018, and oh man, it doesn't stop here. We got Just Cause 4 coming up next week. Red Dead Online is coming out right now. Tom Bach played a little bit of it. It's fully releasing here shortly. But man, it has been a whirlwind, and I feel like there's too many games to get a hold of. I've left games on the back burner like Assassin's Creed, Red Dead, Celeste. There's games that I just had to leave behind, and I'm like, I got to keep trucking to the finish line here because there's so much fun things to do. Before I wrap this up, Tom Bach, if you want to say anything about Red Dead Online, I'll give you the floor before we move on to topic number 2.
Just 2 seconds, because I really want to get into topic 2. I did buy the Ultimate Edition, so I got a couple early days with it. Just really quick, because we will do an entire episode or a chunk of one here about Red Dead Online, because I've been fascinated thinking about what this was going to be. What did Rockstar have in mind? 5-year GTA experience with GTA Online. Like, how are they going to do this? So here's from what I've seen, man, they have thought this one through. Like, first of all, it runs great. Like, I've had no issues with matchmaking. I realize not everybody bought the Ultimate Edition, obviously, so I probably didn't have as big of a pipe of people coming at this thing as is going to happen. I think you go live today, correct?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in just a moment. That's my
Okay.
frustration. We'll talk about it in a moment.
Okay. But so far it's been running great. Like the story part of it, the amount, once you get past the initial, opening up online, the amount of stuff to do is more than I thought, by a long shot more than I thought, as far as game modes, game types, different things, races, death matches. There's going to be things like heists. You're going to be able to do everything from just like posse fishing, like you and I want to go out and catch fish, to like, this is a big, well thought out, well planned. I am so excited for this, Mike Howard. Like the little bit that I've seen, like I said, 4 or 5 hours. I had insomnia the night I was farting around with it early in the morning. I was just like, yes, yes. This is what I want. So far, so good.
Oh, I'm so jealous of you, Tom, because it's a frustration, but at the same time, I just literally said moments ago, there's so much to play. It's not a big deal. I was able to bite my tongue for a couple of days. But man, Tom, I felt kind of slighted there of like, I understand day one, you ordered the Ultimate Edition. That's totally all great and good. You got a day with it. But then the breakdown was very interesting of me of like, did you play it on launch day? Okay, guess what? You can play it Tuesday. Hey, did you play it between the weekend of the 30th to the 31st? Okay, you can play it Wednesday. Oh, you can play it Thursday. And then everybody else can play it Friday. Well, unfortunately for me, I feel like I was punished. I pre-ordered the game. Unfortunately, I can't play the game at launch due to going to TwitchCon. And now here I am. I can't partake in the beta till the final day, let's call it, of releasing it. And I was like, oh man, that kind of stinks. Like, I pre-ordered this game. I wanted to play it on Tuesday, and now I have to wait till Friday because I couldn't get to it due to going to a convention. And that's kind of stinks. But at the same time, I've been able to play other games. I made it through the drought, and now here we are on Friday recording this, ready to jump in. And I am so excited because I'm hearing nothing but positive things. I mean, I will never forget the launch of Grand Theft Auto Online. We talked about it last week, of just the millions of people trying to bombard this server, and one of your friends would get through. The other friend would get in, the game would explode. You would never get in for a whole week. And to hear that everything is going really smooth, people are getting with no issues, I'm like, man, I can't wait now. Now I'm excited,
Dude, so far it has been. And again, I don't know if they did all. I'd be frustrated too, by the way, if I was you, how that went. I don't know if they did that more for just like the people who spent more money, or if it was just a way to kind of gradually get people in. Like it's a complicated thing that they had to wrestle with, how many people they were going to have thrown at them. I mean, like we talked about, the biggest entertainment property of all time. Like, what kind of numbers is that going to bring you as far as multiplayer? How do you even begin to size that and get it right? But it has been running great. And dude, tonight for sure we should play. Just get through the story stuff. You'll be ready to go. The one thing that was really interesting too, and I don't know if you watched anybody streaming it, we talked about the movement being kind of clunky and slow in the single player, right? They did something with player movement on this that you'll notice right away. You move about 3 times to 5 times faster. So it's really fast. Like, it's kind of jarring at first. Like when you play like one of the deathmatch modes in particular, man, you're like shooting at things that are moving at you way faster than what comes at you in the normal game. And so there's like a big learning curve that you got to kind of get through again. In addition to, can you use red eye or dead eye? Can you not? Which is a little bit cheating in that. The auto aim is different in it as well. But anyway, man, as you would expect with Rockstar, this is a 5-year vision they have for this thing. I'm sure that they have mapped parts of it out, and this seems like they know what they're doing here early on. This is a great start from what I can tell.
I love it, Tom. I can't wait. Starting tonight, we're going to posse up, and we're going to have some fun. And you know who I'm about to be. Jim West, Desperado, Will Smith.
West.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. So let's jump into topic number 2. Probably be one of our biggest here. We had a lot of game talk there. But let's talk about the Game Awards 2018 about to take place this coming week. We got a whole lot of fun. Will Gillette Schick Hydro Man be back? My thoughts and prayers are with the Hydro Man. I hope he shows up. I don't think he will, but I love that guy. But Tom, I circled a couple of fun categories that I just wanted to get your thoughts on who you may win or who your vote would go to. And then we'll talk about maybe our announcements and predictions coming up. But let's jump into some of the cool categories. We'll save Game of the Year for last. But Tom, best VR and AR game. You have Astrobot, Beat Saber, Firewall Zero Hour, Moss, Tetris of Effect. And I know you, Tom, you're a big VR guy. I think you've played probably all of these, to be honest with you. So why don't you tell me what's your vote? Who do you think will win on this?
So for me, man, and everybody probably going to make fun of me on this one, but Astrobot to me is still one of my favorite games that I've played in VR. And I think it's partly me because I like the third person VR. I think so far for me is like the best use of VR is to be sort of the God mode VR where Moss has that, this has that. These are every one of these. So I haven't played Beat Saber. Everybody's raving about it. What I have seen of it looks really cool. I don't know that it would get repetitive a little. Have you played Beat Saber at all?
I've not played Beat Saber. It looks great though. It looks cool.
It looks fantastic, right? For me, this one is Astrobot. I don't know if you've gotten into it or not yet. It's such a cool game to me, and I every level I caught myself every level going, whoa, how did, something new that they threw at me that I hadn't seen before that was kind of revolutionary and amazing. So to me, it's Astrobot all the way.
That's so awesome. You were so highly and talking highly about Astrobot to me, Tom. I'm very upset that I didn't get to try it before the end of the year. But, we have so much time. There's never a worry. You don't always have to be the conversation point of all these conversations. But I think for me, I only played Firewall Zero Hour and Moss out of these 5, we'll call it. And I have to say, Firewall Zero Hour is my pick of this because I really loved that game. I loved the 4-on-4 tactical Rainbow Six style. I thought the movement was fluid. I thought the gunplay with the VR gun was actually really well done. And this is the type of stuff, we talked about it when it first released. This is what I want from VR. I want to get as close as possible to real-world Halo or real-world Gears of War where I'm running around a room or a giant playfield with the VR headset and I feel like I'm Master Chief 117. That's what I want. And I think that Firewall really produced that for me, where I felt like we had the headset on. I was in full control of my guy from crouching, standing, turning corners, zooming in on the gun. That's what I wanted. And I really, really enjoyed Firewall. So I'll give my nod to Firewall. I don't know if it will win. It's definitely going up against some tough competition there. Beat Saber has been electric. Tetris Effect, people can't stop talking about. Astrobot is a darling, along with Moss. This is going to be a tough field right here, 5 games there, Tom.
It's a tough one. Did you play Moss at all?
I played Moss.
I like Moss. Moss definitely did. It was an interesting one for me as well. Yeah, I don't think Firewall could win, but I agree with you because it is the one that's most real worldish because you are in the perspective that you're in and it's shooting. And so I think it's the most intense of all those games, kind of by a long shot. People are going to boo me here, but I'm done with Tetris Effect, man. I put some time into it and I get why people dig it. I like it, but it's Tetris at the end of the day, and there's only so much Tetris I can do.
Yeah, Tetris doesn't grab me, unfortunately. Let's move on. This one definitely is going to resonate with you, Tom Bach, and you're the only one going to vote on this one. Best family game. Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Overcooked 2, Starlink Battle for Atlas. That's an interesting one to get in there. And Super Mario Party. Tom Bach, I know you got some lovely daughters. You got a great family up there. Why don't you tell me maybe one of the games that resonates with the kids or what you might vote on this one?
So I didn't do any of the Labo stuff, man. I don't know what about Labo just seemed, I don't know. I shouldn't judge it till I try it, so I kind of can't comment on that. I played 3 of the other 5. So it's funny that Mario Tennis Aces would be family game. I was playing it over Thanksgiving, actually. My daughter plays a lot of Mario Tennis Aces. To me, it's Overcooked. I still have more fun with Overcooked. I played more hours of that, I think, than any of these. Super Mario Party we played actually not too long ago and had some fun with. It's too hit or miss for me, though. Some of the things are really fun. Some of them get kind of grindy, and I don't have anywhere near as much fun with it, which when you have, 80 different games or whatever, it's pretty hard not to be. But Overcooked to me, I still love Overcooked. The love-hate that I have with that game is always going to be strong. But Overcooked to me is going to win this one.
There's some definitely fun games here that I could see if I had a family we could all play with. I think you said I don't know about Mario Tennis Aces, but my daughter plays it. I see that as a great family game. It reminds me of Wii Sports where everybody has the nunchuck. they have the swing mode available, and I bought those tennis rackets. I think that's a great one to get people up out of their chairs and moving just a little bit. And that's what I really like of a lot of these Nintendo games, of like the idea of like, hey, let's get up and play instead of just sitting here not being active. Let's move just a little bit. With Mario Party, you're shaking it, you're baking it over there. So I like those kind of things. Very interesting. Starlink Battle for Atlas. I would not have thought of that to be in the category, but we'll have to call somebody or see if anybody has any say on that. Leave some comments down below if you know about Starlink Battle for Atlas. I wouldn't have put that there. That's interesting.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, moving on, Tom Bach. The two big ones that I have circled. This one's going to be Best Action and Adventure Game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead 2, and Tomb Raider. I think we go down the list. You and I, Tom Bach, have played every single one of these games. Best Action and Adventure Game. What are you feeling there, Tom?
Man, this gets down to personal preference because 4 of these are, to me, and I'll be prisoner of the moment, 10 out of 10 games. And it just depends on which style of game you prefer. Red Dead, Spider-Man, God of War, and Assassin's Creed. I don't put Tomb Raider. We've talked Tomb Raider ad nauseum on this podcast, and my unfortunate dislike of what they did with it this last go round. So I'll kind of shoo it off the list for me. It doesn't belong in this discussion for me. But the other 4, dude, those are all 10 out of 10 games, and it just really depends on what your jam is, right? For me personally, it's God of War.
Okay.
As much as I love the other 3, genuinely, sincerely, the amount of hours I put into those 4 games right there are kind of like obscene this year. But God of War to me for action adventure it gets no better.
Tom Bach, that's interesting right there. See, I was going to save my God of War for the next one we're going to talk about, the big boy one. I think when I think best action and adventure game, man, it always comes down to personal preference, but I really like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Spider-Man jump out to me.
Okay.
I think the movement, the action pace of those games definitely hit home with me. Red Dead, man, like you said, all 4 of these are 10 out of 10 games. Even Tomb Raider still has a good adventure feel to me, and that's what I like, traveling the globe, going to different mystique areas and locations. That's what an adventure game really resonates to me. And man, Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man, they had the fluidity, they had the combat, they had the fun exploration. Tough to truly see it. I think this one will be a fun one to watch live because it's like, who will win this? All 4 of those games, like you said, Tom, are truly incredible. I'm going to give mine to Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay.
I think the adventure standpoint to me really sticks out in my head of like going on the boats, going to different areas, checking out different locations, going underwater, fighting sharks. Like, I like the adventure aspect to me because it already nails the action. The action is fast-paced combat, fun, fluid movement, but that adventure, that giant world that's so big that it would be tough to explore all of it, really hit home, as opposed to Spider-Man, which I still love, but it's just New York City, right? And I feel like Assassin's Creed, I was fighting mythological beasts. I was everywhere,
Dude, think of, man, just how lucky are we as gamers? Look, if you would have come to us back, what was it, 420? Yeah, April 20th that God of War released. Go back to April 19th and think of if you knew you had these 4 games coming, and Celeste isn't even on here, which is a totally different genre of game that I still think is in that game of the year conversation. Dude, we were so spoiled this year, dude. Think of this. Look at these games. Look at the quality of these games. Like, these are just, like, I almost can't even put into words how lucky we are to have a stable of these, just those 4 right there, and then the game of the year candidates, which largely are overlapped to these same ones. Man, oh man, oh man, we had a good year in gaming this year, Mike.
No doubt, Tom. And it's tough to think because we've been such the whirlwind right now of all these fall releases, but it has been a great year that started off kind of slow, but it had some big titles of really getting those wheels turning, and then into the spring with God of War and throughout the summer with all these games. It has been a phenomenal year. I think back of Detroit Become Human. I think about a Monster Hunter World. Then I think about God of War. Like, man, this year has been nonstop, and it has been so much fun. There was so much to do and play that you might have forgotten about games that released in February, March, April. That was a long time ago when it comes down to the gaming world that's just so fast-paced. But you touched on it, and I want to jump over to our final one. That is going to be Game of the Year. And you brought it up before. Celeste is in this top 5, or top 6, I should say, which is truly incredible. I love seeing Celeste get the nod. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead are your top 6 here for Game of the Year discussion at the Game Awards 2018. Tom Bach, there's those big 4 again. That could be 10 out of 10. Celeste, arguably a great game right there. Monster Hunter World, so big, so juicy, so much fun. What are you thinking here out of this 6?
So the only one that I will take off immediately for me is Monster Hunter World. I get why it's there. And there was moments we played and everybody dug it. And there's times I want to go back to it, if I'm being honest, get Sad Boy Sean on and help us go do some stuff. And we did. We had a great time with it. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it. But there was something kind of missing in that game for me. And I think it had to do with, at least in my case, I was collecting millions of things that I never did anything with. Like, I just didn't kind of get that whole, because if it played a certain class, you never used the bullets or the arrows or whatever. So I took that one off. Outside of that, then, it really does come down to, how do you view this, to me, this cat? Is this the game I had the most fun with? Is it the one that I was most impressed with? I kind of look at this as like the crowning achievement. Like, what game was the one that, kind of blew my mind the most? May not have been the most accessible to play, the most fun, like Spider-Man combat and all that. So to me, this is Red Dead. Only because,
Woo!
dude, I'm gonna send you like this little clip, just randomly. I was out fishing the other day. Lightning was striking. It was raining, like sideways raining on me. There was all this like, fog coming over, fish jumping, and it was this really weird. And I just happened to be in a certain spot. My horse was there. I clipped it. And I literally just was like, you couldn't make this up. Like, that this was a video game, that this just organically happened. I was just fishing, farting around. There was no mission. Just threw it out at a lake somewhere, mountains in the background. Like, that was such a experience of something that meant nothing, that only Red Dead could do. Only Red Dead could have done that. To me, Red Dead's Game of the Year, just strictly on that. It's an achievement of a video game. Nothing has been made like it before. Nothing will be made like it again. It's its own unique thing. To me, for me this year, that was the Game of the Year for me.
Wow, Tom Bach. And I mean, it's easy to agree with you. It's hard to disagree with you. All of these games on this list are so big. And I think for me, the 2 that I could take off, I want to give love to Celeste. I really had a good time with that, Tom. And it's so interesting. You and I talked about it at the beginning of the year, how, this was so out of my wheelhouse. I never thought about these games, from Dead Cells, The Messenger, to Celeste, Hollow Knight, all of these games that you got me into that were games that I would never play. And I was captured. I was enthralled by Celeste. I think I have 450 deaths on Celeste, and I'm still loving it.
Nothing.
So I definitely want to give some love to Celeste, of course. Monster Hunter World, we did have a fun time with, Tom. That was big. That was beautiful. That was cool to go out there with so many different weapon types, to go out there with a group, to go hunt down this giant monster. That was actually awe-inspiring for me, because I had never played a Monster Hunter title, and that one got me gripped. That one got me involved, and I wonder if the topic would be different if it were released more in this early window of the whirlwind that we're feeling right now with Assassin's Creed, with Spider-Man, with Red Dead, if that would have been different with this more fresh in my mind. You know what I mean? I brought up Detroit. I brought up Monster Hunter. Being so far out there in early spring, you almost kind of forget about them. You know what I mean, Tom? So I wonder if the conversation would be maybe a little bit different with that game being so close, a little bit closer to these awards. I got to give it props. I don't think it's on the level of those 4 like you talked about, Tom, but I'm glad that it's getting a nod, because it was great. Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Red Dead, God of War. Those are the top 4. This is another tough one, just like action and adventure game. But for me, I'm going to go on the opposite side, Tom. I'm going to go with God of War for this one because I look at it, just like you said, is it how much fun I had? Is it something that really changed the game for me, that really showed me what video games are possible, how you could take a game and reinvent it and make it totally different? I think God of War did that and more for me. Not only did I have a great time, not only did I love the story, but man, that game was so different from what I always believed God of War was, and they sold me on it. They took that from that 2.5D over the top, beat 'em up, hack 'em, slash 'em shooter, or beat 'em up game like you talked about, Tom, into this awesome narrative where you're fighting, you're having moments where you're sharing with the boy Atreus, and then all of a sudden they're telling me it's just one long gameplay. There's never a cutscene, or there's never any cuts. There's never any breaks in the moment. It's like, man, that's a technical marvel that probably needs to be recognized. So I wouldn't be surprised to see God of War take this one. That's what I'm going to vote with.
I think it'll win. You know, it's funny too for me. I probably should clarify my statement. God of War is my personal favorite game of the year. If I had to rank what game did I have the most fun with and enjoy the most, God of War wins. Like it is my number one game of the year for me. So I'm totally with you, dude. Like the everything that you said, nodding along with, I 100% agree with you. It was just everything about it is just phenomenal. I think that and if you look at Red Dead, dude, Red Dead's got tons of problems. Like the shooting is really weird, and the movement can be clunky, and there's things about Red Dead that really aren't that great if you're kind of like looking at it critically, but it does things that to me no other games like ever even come close to doing. Like not even the things that they somehow figured out and put into this world, right? So this is a hard category to interpret. I guess like a lot of award shows, I always laugh, as a guitar player, as everybody can see, I always laugh at people who try to judge art. You don't judge music. It's like there's not, one's not automatically better or worse than another. This category is really weird in that sense, right? Because these games are all so different. Have you finished Celeste, by the way? Where are you?
I have not finished Celeste. I'm definitely on like level 4 or 5. I just got out of the crazy hotel.
Okay,
so I'm
you got
still
a little
early,
ways to
but
go.
it got me. It was really cool, and I was so
going.
impressed by it. That's one of those, like we talked about, Tom. I don't like any of those games, and for me to be saying that's really impressive because it's like Hitman. I didn't even like Hitman.
Yeah.
Now I'm loving Hitman.
Keep going. I want to push you to keep going because I tweeted out the other day, I think the last 2 hours of that game are like nothing you've ever done. Like you do all the levels, and then the last level is like a kind of this amalgamation of all the previous ones. Like whatever you learned, they throw it all at you at once. The last hour or 2 hours of that game, the level design is so good. Where you said you've died 400 times, dude. I think it's like 6,000. Like the numbers off. I'm not exaggerating. Like it's crazy, but you never get frustrated with it. Keep going in that one, man. I love that we're having this conversation about these games because they all are so different in their own way. I mean, let's give some love to Assassin's Creed Odyssey too, which is the best Assassin's Creed game I think we've seen. It may be ever.
It's ever. That's the best Assassin's Creed, hands down, no doubt about it.
Even though everything's in it, we've seen before. That was kind of my Red Dead comment. Like you haven't seen this before. You've seen everything that's in Assassin's Creed and other Assassin's Creed games, just never put together quite like this one in the way that this one was done, and what the DLC is going to bring, I think, as well. Like that game is so special. I think God of War will win. I mean, if you want to talk about like who's going to win, God of War is going to win this one. I think Red Dead second. I feel bad for Spider-Man. Like a month ago, I would have put Spider-Man here. In fact, I think I said it was at the time, but these other games are just that, they're that good.
They're all that good, and I mean, that's a true testament to this. So that's been some fun one. We've picked out 4 categories. There's like 12 categories. It's going to be a great night to celebrate the games industry. So make sure you tune in, live stream, and do whatever, because it's always fun. We are running a little long on the show, so we're going to wrap up with this, Tom Bach. I want to know a couple of things, some announcements, some reveals that you want to see from this. And I also want to have a discussion with you, Tom, of like, should we look at the Game Awards as an announcement or reveal platform as opposed to an award show? So I talked about it last week with MC Fixer of like, I understand that Jeff Keighley has done a phenomenal job with the team of putting on this incredible award show that has had some sprinkles, some dustings of some awesome announcements, which I love. And every gamer wants that. They love that. But at what point do we start thinking about the Game Awards more as an announcement platform than a place to celebrate the hard work, the tenacity, and the incredible accomplishments that all of these teams have accomplished here?
Yeah, I've got a really strong opinion on this one too, and I watched part of what you did with Fix, which was great, by the way. So, dude, how great is Jeff Keighley, though, first of all? Like, I can remember watching him back doing the GTTV. I used to record that on my old TiVo. Like, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. The fact that they do this, the whole show is so cool. Like, this is one of my favorite shows to watch. That said, dude, there's, again, this culture we live in now. It happened at XO18. How many people flipped out about trailers and things? It's like you can't win. You know, the people that do this stuff can't win. It's like everybody wants this. They want what they want to be the certain way when it comes to trailers and reveals. To me, I don't like the reveals and trailers being in this. I think this should be about celebrating the amazing work these people do, recognizing them. Award shows are just weird in general anyway. Just, again, you can't really compare things to things in all cases. But I would like it if they didn't do a bunch of reveals. That said, I wrote down, I think, 5 giant reveals that they're about to do in the show, that all of which I'm very excited for. Obsidians and Gearboxes and Rocksteadies and all this stuff we can talk about in a minute, the Avengers one. I'm excited as hell for that stuff. I just don't know that this is the place that I want to see it. And I think there's other ways to do it. So to me, I would like this to stay as an award show and a celebration of what's already come out. Don't distract me with what's going to come out. Celebrate what's already come out and let me kind of soak up again this awesome year that we've had and relive it. That's how I fall on this one.
No doubt, Tom. And I think, you hit it on the head of like, he's done a phenomenal job with his team, and you have to give him so much props for putting this on. And my concern is like, at what point do we start valuing the announcements over these awards? I feel like last year might have been the change in my mindset of watching this, of like, I was strictly there. I felt like just to watch who was going to reveal what, who was going to announce what. Like at one point, I felt like I was just there to watch the next commercial on what game was coming out, and I didn't even care what the award was. The speeches are like 2 minutes long. Nobody's really doing anything, and they're just off the stage, and we're right back to another cutscene. So it'll be interesting on my perspective on this of like, this year, are we really focused in on rewarding people and celebrating, or are we cutting real quick all the time about things that are coming up that, which is all well and great, and it gives people so much fun to watch it, but like, that's not why we're here. I don't want us to think that we're here just so we can see a Last of Us 2 15-second reveal.
Aren't there enough places and times to do that stuff? I mean, that's what's so interesting about all of these is like, I don't know, everybody's just gotten so hungry for exclusives, reveals. Like, everything has been distilled down into this like really finite number of things that it frustrates me to some degree, because I think that everything should have its place. And to me, the place for this is, maybe you could sprinkle some in, but then it become, like you said, then you're not even listening to the thing. You're just waiting for the next, world premiere, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's a tough balance. I love that they do this though. The fact that they even have this event, I think is fantastic. That Jeff himself sort of like, pioneers this and keeps this relevant for people is really important. Just because, look, dude, as you know, and look, I'm much older than you are, and one of my big frustrations with gaming is how many people have such a negative, it's a kid's hobby, people who don't follow the industry at all, right? They don't know the depth of the games we're playing, and like I show them a strategy guide, like, look, this is complicated stuff. This is not, people running around being idiots, playing Call of Duty 24/7. But I get really frustrated by it's a young, it's a teenager thing, because it's not, as you know, these are incredibly bright, gifted adults with incredible skills in storytelling and video game design coming together to celebrate something. I think that they deserve a night to kind of go off and do that. Anyway, dude, let's talk about the announcements though, because after we just get done saying there shouldn't be.
Oh, you read my mind. I was like, after we just said, hey, no more announcements. Okay, let's talk about the announcements. So,
because they're big.
We have to talk about it. It is going to be a big moment, and there's some things that have been teased. I know Tom has some good ones that he's ready for. I'm just going to start us off because I don't even know. I guess I haven't done my research. I haven't thought that far ahead, and Tom has so many good ones. I'm just going to say I just want Schick Hydrobot to come back into my life. I think he will be a playable character in Nintendo Smash Ultimate, Smash Melee Ultimate. Just give me Nintendo Hydrobot. That's all I have to say, Tom. Take us away. Take us away.
Dude, I love you, man. That's so good. All right, so I wrote down the ones that I thought IGN did a good piece on, things that could be. I think some of these may overlap, but people can go read there of things that they anticipate. But there's a couple that have really come out on Twitter that have been either from Jeff or from various people who are going to be there that thought they would put something out. So the couple that really caught my eye, games that I've been two in particular three that I've been really, really waiting to see what's going to happen with. The first one is, there's probably going to be a Borderlands. I'm hoping a Gearbox. I don't know if are you a big Borderlands guy? Did you play much Borderlands?
You know what? I was a big Borderlands fan. I think I started getting that motion sickness that we talked about from Far Cry in the latest Borderlands. I think I've kind of taken a halt to it, but I'll never forget Borderlands 1 with the multiplayer aspect of sitting down co-op with your friends. Like, that was so much fun. And I love it. I hope to one day get back into it, but I fear that the motion sickness will start kicking back in for me.
That's too bad. By the way, and I can't believe I've forgotten to even mention this, and I was cruising through the PlayStation Store the other day. Do you know that Borderlands 2 VR comes out in like 3 weeks? They're like, for real, there's a full-fledged Borderlands game coming out in VR in 3 weeks, which is insane. So the timing of this, the reason I bring that up is they're clearly getting ready to do a big Borderlands blitz. So you know that one's coming. So Borderlands 3, I hope that they're saying as early as like March. Ooh, the dog's going off.
Oh, it's Brian outside my house throwing rocks at my window, of course.
Keep
going. But yes, I will say, when we were at TwitchCon, the PlayStation trailer that they had one day that was dedicated to Borderlands 2 VR that you could go and test out. Of course, it was so busy we didn't get the chance to try it. But that's an interesting one. I love Skyrim VR, so this could be a cool one, you know?
I'm interested to see if it can be an actual game. Okay, the other ones too, I'll go through them quickly. So there was also a big tweet out from the Joel and Anthony Russo, or Russo, I don't know exactly how you say it, the directors for Avengers, because Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have been working on the Avengers game. Obviously, they're going to show that, which really interesting stuff if you think about that one. Like, given Spider-Man just now and God of War, which also had there's my kid home, also had a very superhero-y kind of vibe to it in its own weird way, as did Assassin's Creed. Everybody was tweeting out and talking about how much Cassandra was like, a Wonder Woman thing.
Woman, yeah.
So this is a really interesting one, and they're for sure going to be in the show. Yeah.
You really think that will happen? I mean, not the announcement, but in general, do you really think that a Justice League or a Marvel Avengers game will happen like that?
Yes, I do. I do.
Ooh, Tom, okay.
I do. And it's, and what's interesting is the people that Square has doing the game all have pedigrees in that thing. So I think for sure you're going to see that. And they said they were going to be at the show. So why in the hell in the world would the directors for the Avengers on Jeff Keighley's Twitter feed be talking about, has to be, right? So
you don't think it's Avengers 4 movie trailer?
Could it be both?
It could be both. I mean, I'm not doubting it.
We know they're doing the game. We know they're doing.
It has to be some sort of game-related thing. But at the same time, I would not, like we always talk about with expectations, if they came in and showed a small trailer teaser for Avengers 4 the movie and walked off, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't set the internet ablaze.
Yeah. So we'll see on that one, man. That's a good one. And then here's the other weird ones that I'm not entirely sure about. So, the one studio that I talk about every week, Rocksteady. What has Rocksteady been doing? The internet was abuzz this week with the Superman game and what's really going on with it. They countered it, or somebody that either worked at Rocksteady. I was trying to follow the thread that no, they're not working on a Superman game. But it is a superhero game of some kind. And it sounded more like it was like a Justice League thing than Superman specific. But I mean, you're talking 5 years now, Mike, that they've been working on something. 5 years, four easily. No talk of anything. Some weird little cryptic stuff that they've been dropping. So I think Rocksteady's going to have something in here, which is my personal like dying to see moment, because I love the Batman games still, and littered in my top 20, or all those games are in my top 20 somewhere. So I don't know how you feel about that one, but I'm dying to see what Rocksteady's working on, and I think we're going to find out here pretty quick.
It's DC's Green Arrow. I'm so excited. We'll get to play as Oliver Queen. It's going to be a great time. No, this will be interesting, Tom. I mean, there's so much back and forth about what a Superman game would really look like. We know what the Batman trilogy has been, and those have been phenomenal. So if you add Superman in, shucks, you add in any superhero, it's just going to be like Spider-Man. It's still going to be incredible. It's going to be a great time, and I'm really excited, like you say. What's the announcement going to be? Is it DC? That will also be an interesting one for me of like, do we know confirm that it's a DC game? Maybe not. Maybe we'll see.
I don't know what their licensing is with that. I mean, you'd think that it probably would be, but there's no telling. So, okay. And so then you got that one. Now, the last two are a little murky, and I'm not exactly sure where to go with them. The Obsidian announcement that came out of Microsoft. So there's been a number of weird tweets also from Obsidian developers, people who've been part of the team. One guy in particular tweeted out that they are, I think his exact wording was, getting towards the middle to the end of the game that he's always wanted to make, and that they're something to the effect of about to show some parts of it. So if you go on to YouTube and type in like Obsidian announcement, you'll see all these weird like fan theories of what's going on. So maybe Obsidian comes out with something here, and this is a weird mic drop moment for Microsoft, given the recent announcement, to go, hey, not only do we do this, but check this out. Here's a trailer. Everybody kind of slammed them at XO for not showing more unique IP. This would be a pretty cool thing to bust out. Of all the things that Microsoft has done, this is their biggest acquisition. I think everyone would agree their biggest. And if they had a game that was 2/3 baked that they could show something really cool with, especially Knights of the Old Republic style, something like that, that would be a pretty cool moment that I'm kind of hoping happens.
That's a big one, Tom. So for me, when I was on the My Xbox and Me podcast, I thought it was too early to show any of those newly acquired game studio games because we just purchased them. Who knows where they are, what we picked them up. Are they making their own games and you just kind of bought them with that game? Are you restarting from scratch? I think somebody said it really well of like, if you remember a couple years ago at the EA conference when they showed that Star Wars developer diary, and it was literally just like walking around the studio like, hey, what's up? Look at this concept art. And like, oh man, me and the team were so jazzed up. We're so excited. As awesome as that is to see the behind the scenes and see the people that are working so hard on the games that you love, it didn't really give us any insight. That Star Wars game was then canceled, never became anything. So I just hope that they don't come out with some sort of dev diary of like, hey, what's up? Like, this is our idea for the game. This is what we want to do, but we're still so far away. Like you say, Tom, like it's got to be 2/3 beyond if we really want to show something off. And I just felt like it was too early in the cycle of we just purchased that company to see anything. But we'll see. It's definitely a great studio. Awesome acquisition for Xbox, and I mean, if they got something, Tom, it will be big. That would be big.
It'll be really big. Kojima will. I mean, him and Jeff are tight, so there'll be something.
Oh my God! Give
Kojima
me another
related.
Death Stranding trailer. I'm in it, man.
Yeah.
I'm in it. Keep going. I hope he does.
Oh, there'll be something. You know that those. There's some craziness always between those two, and their love for one another is well known, and there'll be something there. So here's the last one that is a flyer, but I'm excited about, and this one is total flyer. I just happened to read about it on a couple different game sites. So I'm a big BioShock guy. BioShock to me is still in my, like the original BioShock, most amazing games to me that I've ever played, level top 5. So Irrational Games, Ken Levine studio, have obviously been gone for a long time, but a lot of the guys moved on to this Ghost Games, which is, sort of the spiritual successor. Now the BioShock name is still owned, but Ghost Games is off doing something different. And so I'm thinking on one of those two lines that there may be something. There was, again, a couple of weird little leaks and stuff that have been out. Could this be the time that we see? I mean, BioShock Infinite was a long time ago. I don't know who would be working on it necessarily. If there was, some, things were just kind of not 2 and 2 we're not putting together, and there's something further here. I'm just praying on this one. This is sort of like my Dead Space one. I hope someone's working on something here. We know Ghost Games is working on something, and I know Ken and Jeff, I'm dropping their names like I know them, but they're kind of running the same circles, right? I've seen tons of interviews between the two of them. I hope we see something here, just because I'm excited to see either what Ghost is working on or what BioShock itself, if there's something going on with the BioShock, title. But those are the biggies. Oh, and then the Microsoft winner of Arcade. They've already said, in fact, Phil Spencer sent out a thing and said they're gonna give there's 5 games, 4 or 5 that are gonna be the winner of Arcade. My guess is it's starting that night. They're gonna drop one of the games right there, right on the moment. Hey, download it right now. The game that I want and you want is Below. That game's been in development for 5 years. If you guys haven't checked it out, go on to YouTube or anywhere, go look at the Below gameplay. It looks really cool. Capybara Games. I hope that's the first one. Like, how cool would that be, dude? Come out and go, hey, winner of Arcade. It's going to be 5 weeks long. It's bang, 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 and bang. Oh, by the way, Below is released today. It's free on Games Pass. They've already said it's going to be free. Here you go. Boom. That's what I'm looking for.
Tom, that will be definitely a fun one. We're definitely looking forward to Winter of Arcade. The BioShock stuff, I don't know. I'm excited if they did something. That would be so cool.
I'm guessing. That's out of my head. Like that, I have nothing to base any of that on, by the way.
We do know one thing. There's going to be announcements, there's going to be reveals, and it's going to be a great night to not only celebrate the games industry, but to look ahead into 2019 and beyond with games that you want, trailers that you want, releases that are coming to you soon enough. So get ready. Game Awards 2018. Tom, way to bring the predictions and the announcements on that one, because you know me. Just give me that Hydro Man and we're going to be fine, okay? Give me that Chick Hydro Man.
We haven't even talked about Smash. By the way, are you excited for Smash, or where's your excitement level?
I'm super. Well, here's my worry, Tom Bach. Here's my worry. Smash has always been to me the N64 version. That is 4 friends gather around an old school television, screaming and yelling at each other. And I didn't really play Smash. I kind of got away from the Nintendo consoles after that edition and never have really gone back. And so it's tough. I just bought Super Mario Party, and I think I've played it a grand total of 2 times, Tom.
Ooh,
because I don't have anybody around me in my life where we can have those long nights or those, afternoon gameplay sessions to do that. So I worry, for me, it's like, what's Smash going to look like to me? Hopefully it has a great online infrastructure. Hopefully I can get on with 4 to 5 friends every single night, and we can play Smash Ultimate online, and it feels good. But at the same time, I don't know if I could ever get that feeling again where we were all gathered around the TV, smashing those N64 controllers and having so much fun.
Is that what you want from Smash, though? I mean, do you want online? Do you want to play other, or
I have to. The way that I live, the way that my life situation is I have to have online. It's not the preferred method. I would prefer all of my friends gathered around one TV and us just going crazy, going ham. But at the same time, people have different situations in their life. Some people are probably like me, where it's like, hey, I live in a small town. I can't get that many people, or I can't facilitate all my friends to come over and play this on one certain night. So I need to rely on Smash Online so I can have that fun time and enjoy the game. I'm definitely getting it day one, and I'm hoping that I can have some fun online with all the fellow best friends.
See, I'm a lot like you. In fact, you and I are literally identical on this, but I'm even stronger. I don't think I can have fun playing it online. I think the only way that I would have fun with it would be like Overcooked. If I had to play Overcooked across the internet with someone who wasn't in the same room with me, who I wanted to punch and choke real time, I wouldn't have fun with it. Like, the whole point of that game is couch co-op. Couch co-op. Smash to me is couch co-op. I can't imagine enjoying that game online. Yeah, I get that it's the only way to play it, and I damn well better get used to doing it that way if I want to play it. I just don't know, bro. Like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it playing it that way, but we'll see.
We'll see, Tom Bach. It's definitely going to be a big release, and I guarantee you're going to get some stuff out of that over at the Game Awards. We know that. Sure. They're definitely going to be a presence there for that. That's their biggest title releasing here in December. There's no doubt there will be conversations about that. Tom Bach, You kicked butt today. Thank you so much for joining me here on episode 15 of the Game Time Podcast. We talked about so much because guess what? There is so much to talk about right now, gamers. You're probably playing all your favorite fall and holiday releases, so please jump in the comment section below. Tom Bach and I love talking with you offline, off the podcast about what some of your thoughts were. So please queue up those questions, comments, and concerns in the comment section down below. Let us know what some of your Game Award predictions are. What announcements do you want to see? Tell us, what games have you been playing? Have you been failing at Hitman 2 like me? Have you been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Tell us all about it. Tom Bach, I'm so thankful for you for coming back and doing another episode with me. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
Find me on Twitter at Galunga, and find me very soon, everyone, playing Just Cause 4.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Super excited about, because it's coming. And just think, man, we record again next time. So we're going to talk Red Dead Online, which is going to be, you're going to experience something really interesting here soon. Just Cause will have like some serious time put into. It just keeps coming, man. This is like the greatest. I'm soaking in this time of year with like every fiber of my being, and I'm digging every second of it.
No doubt. Make sure to catch Tom Bach talking about all those awesome games. You can catch me live streaming those fun games on twitch.tv/SnowBikeMike. Check out the content that we're putting at you on Snowbike Mike Gaming at YouTube.com. We're having some fun with live vlogs, live reactions, gameplay, all that you want to see. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Thank you so much. We are thankful for you, the best friends that support us and support each other out there. Hope you have a great holiday season. We will be back next week with episode 16 and a whole lot to talk about. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. See ya.
Peace.